an object, they get placed into the space within the object. What is in that space? What is the characteristic of that space that allows it to take on an impression if it's just space? I'm thinking physical. I know I'm thinking physical, but I was trying to understand that.
It's etheric space. So what is etheric space?
It's just nothing. It's silence.
Is it?
It's silence, which is connected to everything. Really.
Is that what we teach? Huh? Do we teach nothingness? So what's in space?
God.
But we break it down into many, many things.
Kasha.
Akasha is one of them. What else?
And things can be imprinted onto Akasha.
Things can't exist without Akasha. What else? What'd you say?
Shakti.
Shakti, yeah.
It's all energy.
Huh?
It's all energy.
All energy. And now, if you notice that scientists today, what scientists calling space now?
Dark matter.
Dark matter. See? So it's not.
It's not really space per se.
Yeah, because what is space is what? Who said it? Kasha. Right? It dropped out of my head. How you spell it?
Okay.
And station.
Yes, H, right? This equals what?
Etheric sound.
It equals etheric sound, right? And what is etheric? And then what's another thing for this etheric sound? How does they describe it?
Shakti.
As space, right? And this is one of the what? Anyone?
Mahabhuta.
The Mahabhutas, right? So all the Mahabhutas are in this space, right? Because why? Because Akasha is what?
Pervades every
Carrying agent.
It's the carrying agent for all the Mahabhutas. So space, the dark matter that scientists all of a sudden discovered, is what the mystics and the yogis been talking about all these years as the Mahabhutas. See? And from this etheric sound comes what we've been talking about for thousands of years, etheric matter. Now, the etheric matter is, for us in the solar system, is what? Where does the etheric matter come from?
The
The
sun.
sun.
The sun. So now scientists also tell us that, you understand what he was saying, there's more space, right? Because why?
Because there's more space in between all the protons. The only reason it seems solid is because of the spinning electron.
Because of the, because why? Because you have the nucleus, right? Which is the nucleus and the protein and the proton, and then you have this electron that spins around the atom, right? This electron spins so fast that it creates the illusion of what? Of solid.
Solid.
Right? So, but in actuality, all of this
It's huge space.
is space. All of that is space. And scientists told us that they realized this over 100 years ago, back in the 1800s, when they started dealing with the atoms.
Really, the Greeks don't say about it.
Huh?
The Greeks and the Hindus.
Well, the Greeks stole it.
Yeah, from the Hindus.
Yeah, but they didn't really understand it themselves. But still, I mean, the scientists of today, when they came up with the periodical chart, right, which is really What's a periodical chart? It's nothing but
Classification of the model.
of the Mahabhutas. So the space, so this space is, and he described it just right, because the tension, the thing, all matter, in order to take a shape, it uses what? It uses a kasa, right? So even the empty space between this door and myself uses a kasa in order to create that space. And all objects uses a kasa in order to form and shape themselves. So the space, there's always more space than solids, and that's where the impression is right now. If this was a kitchen or a cafeteria, and someone was cooking, the room would fill up with the smell of that food, right? But yet you can't see the smell, but it impresses what? The space. So the same thing about your own magnetic fumes or vibrations invade the space of any object that you touch, and it stays there for hundreds, maybe thousands of years, depending on the object. And that's what the psychometrists go to read once they sensitize their body.
So if you were to take an object and through fire or water, like burn it or douse it, are you cleansing that space in a sense?
Not necessarily. Probably with some objects you can, but not every object. But in fact, what in the question, I think it was in the question and answer, he instruct if you're listening to a particular, if you're trying to pick up on a particular vibration in an object, and it gets convoluted or whatever, and you can't zero in on what you want to zero in, he tells you to take it and run it through the water, shake it up a little bit, dry it off, and then come back and try it. Now, it won't get rid of the thing that he was picking up, but it may allow you to pass by it, to get to something that's there, because if that was the thing that was the greatest impression, maybe you weighed it down in order to go, because water and fire enter more than one realm of existence. Any other questions?
It's like there's a difference in density between the bodies.
What?
There's a difference in density between our bodies.
What do you mean by that?
Like the astral body is more dense.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's so.
Does the same thing apply to the molecules in the different realms? Like, say, if I were to psychometrize that bottle of water in this realm, would I get a different impression than a similar bottle of water in another realm?
What do you mean by different impression?
Like you were saying, the etheric space.
The difference between the physical realm and the astral realm, or the physical realm and the etheric realm, is that the mental world intertwines with the physical world. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So if you were on the astral realm or the etheric realm, and you want to go and actually build something, if you had the right specifications and the knowledge and the power, you could pull the akasa right out of the air and build that thing and bring it into a solid state, a solid state on that particular realm of existence. Now here in the physical realm, what we have to do, we build it in our head, we know how it looks, we take it, we put it on a piece of paper and give a diagram of it, and then we hunt down the materials. We hunt down the akasas, the mahabhutas, in order to make it solid. But on the astral realms, you don't have to do that.
Okay.
You know, you can literally pull a casa out of the surrounding space and build it into whatever you want to build it into.
So the difference between like that diagram you drew, is that specific to this realm or is that across all the realms?
That's probably all the realms. It's just that the atomic weight might be different, and the number of electrons the electronic configuration might be a little different. In other words, that's what you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure the electronic, if it's a greater density, then the atomic weight and if the atomic weight is different, then the electronic configuration is different as well.
So
But is, you know, you still may have more space than solids.
So the impressions I pick up from a molecule in this realm as opposed to this realm will be the same.
Because mine works the same. It's just it's the frequency that it's on. You know, that might be the difference. In other words, the frequency or the vibration, how it vibrates, because it needs to vibrate to a particular level of the magnetic of the you know what I'm trying to say, the electronic magnetic spectrum. All right.
So in the merging of the physical with the astral and etheric senses, when I go to psychometry something, I'm using all three to pull information from all three.
All three what?
The physical, astral, and etheric senses.
It depends on your level of advancement. You may be only pulling from two. You know, in the beginning, I'm sure you're just pulling from two. So, but as you grow, then you pull from multiple.
So the examples he was giving were, so like, for example, physical sense would tell me the bottle is cold, hard, plastic. Astral sense would tell me who's used it prior, or
No, it's a combination of both. It can't just be the astral senses. We went over that, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to differentiate what would come from.
Well, it can't be just the astral senses. That doesn't make sense. It have to be both. You need a what? In order to create something, you need a what?
Positive and negative.
Positive and negative. I mean, this is basic science, man. The mystery is I'm giving you the keys, I'm giving you the formula so you'll understand the mystery. And then when the mystery disappear, then you have knowledge and understanding. You know, so don't complicate it. It's just not the astral senses. In fact, right now you're using your astral senses now. You're just unaware of it. So what you want to do, you want to home in on those astral senses and blend them and to bring a balance between the physical and the astral, and then all of a sudden you're seeing ghosts. You see auras, you know. So I mean, that's it's just right now you have this mental block, you have this auric blockage that's not allowing you to do that. But you have to clear that up and merge it, and then all of a sudden it's on. It's like a light switch. So, any other questions?
The condition part. Was he wasn't using condition only in a negative sense. I mean, we talked about when a master charges it, you want to keep that condition.
What
when you touch an object and you take a condition off of it from someone.
Yeah, he's talking about mostly in the negative. Something that's going to impact you negatively.
Right.
You want to take that condition. Because the majority of times, psychometry is, you want to use psychometry in most cases, like if you're giving contact healing to someone, right? So when you get better and better in contact healing, you can, usually you ask someone to take off the jewelry and whatever, How we used to do it, we would ask them, if they want consultation. If they want consultation, you take the watch or whatever they have, and you psychometrize it, and then you give them your advice. You know, you give them some type of advice on how they need to do, or what's causing the illness, or what's causing the stress. Because most people come in with just stress, really, and you try to pinpoint that to them. So now, since you dealing with a bunch of sick people or stressful people, then you want to wash those conditions off of you, and that's what he was talking about. Now, if you have a holy cross or emblem that's been blessed by a master or a teacher or whoever, then of course you don't want to wash those conditions off of you if you psychometrizing that. You know, you don't want to do that. You want to take in those conditions. So that's what he was talking about. That's the difference.
What surprised me is you cannot do psychometry without taking on.
Yeah, you can. That's with anything, really. You have to pick up something in order to, how you gonna know what it is if you don't take that condition on?
Can't I remotely psychometrize?
Even if you do it remotely, you're gonna do it.
You're still linking yourself to
You're
it.
still linking yourself to it, right?
Yeah.
When you have these so-called visions or dreams, and you come back and you gasping for air because something that happened in your dream or vision, you felt that physically, right?
Yeah.
So what you did, you connected and you took on the condition. That's the only way you're gonna do it. You're not going to, even when you see something, if you see someone get hit by a car and they thrown, 12 feet up in the air and come back down on the ground, what happens to you?
Feel pain.
Huh?
You jump.
You jump, you feel all of that, right? So you just tuck on that condition. So it impacted you. So anything you go and touch with your senses, with sensory reception, of course, you taking on a condition of that. That have impacted you. That's a part of your what? You created a what? Just a samskara. And what the samskara does, it means that what? It scars the aura. So it created a condition in you and planted a seed. Now that seed can blossom back in a good way, or in a negative way, or a positive way. Simple as that.
So then, like, 'cause yesterday, while I was driving, I got an impression that to contact one of my friends, maybe something was wrong. So I sent them a message and they said, yeah, something was wrong, something was bothering me. So that evening, I sent them healing. I had them participate and sit up and visualize. I sent them healing. But in that first instance where I got the impression, okay, there's something wrong with them, was that, I was obviously linked to them, but was that their condition, was I taking on their condition by being alerted that there's something wrong?
This is psychic sense. It happens. It happens all the time. So yeah, in order for you, like I said, if you sense something or see something, you have been impacted by it. So now that's a samskara within you. Now how you use that positively or negatively is up to you. So that you have been impacted by it. The only way you can register that is that you've been impacted by it. Other than that, you can't, because you notice something terrible happened to someone and to a person, and they had no response. Then most likely they didn't understand it, right? But then when you say, "Don't you understand what just happened?" Then it registered with them. Then you see an emotion come back from them. You see something, happen. So yeah.
So when you develop a samskara from like in your case, you connected to somebody and he takes on that samskara, then he can transmute that through mantra or through one of the pranayama.
No, I'm saying
it helps someone through healing, and that's a way of
Yeah, that's probably a way, but still, I'm not saying that it's negative. It's not. It may not be a negative samskara.
But it has the potential for either.
Yeah, for both. It depends on how he used that going forward. That will determine whether it's negative or positive. You know, that's a positive event that you was able to actually tap into that person, right? You felt that was positive, right? And you were able to create a positive action by what? Healing, by sending them healing. So that is, you know, now how you move forward with that, with those two events in the future will determine how positive it really is. All right.
But what, kind of the answer already, but what triggered that initial event where I was alerted that something was wrong, contact this person?
You gotta ask yourself that. I mean, that happens, the more and more you do the 12 lessons, the pranayama, the prayer, you're gonna sensitize your bodies, and you're gonna be aware of many, many things. And those impressions, those psychic impressions gonna come to you. You're gonna be able to look at someone and see them and see many, many things. Now, how you use that is up to you, but it's gonna happen. So I mean, that's what's happening. That's what Dr. King was saying about sensitizing yourself. That's what happened. Those are psychic impressions. People that connect themselves to you, you would know if something's wrong, you know, immediately. And a lot of times you don't have to even try to look at them. They walk in the room or come within a block of you, and you know that what's going on with them, or you know, whether they high, low, or whatever. So what you do with that is up to you. All right. Any other questions? Does everybody have an idea of what psychometry is now, or do I have to go back into it?
I think you should go back to it.
Go ahead.
Since that was me, can you go back into it very briefly?
The psychometry is the ability to touch something, right, and pick up information from that object. It's a simple definition. You know, in other words, everything that someone touched or wear on a person or come into contact with, they leave an impression there. And through mantra, prayer, pranayama, and sensitizing yourself and to the psychic energies around you, you can read those impressions. You can touch that object, and you can read things about that person, their health conditions, what's going to happen to them in the next week or two, things that happen to them in their childhood, whatever. Or you can even go to the point where you can put their past, present together and know the future, or put the future, presence, the future and the past together and know a present, their present state of mind, right? So those are, that's what psychometry is, being able to read an object, all right? Basically, that's what we were talking about. Any other questions? The best way to do it is through pranayama. I mean, to develop it, pranayama.
Yeah,
And the 12 lessons. 12 lessons is a good way of sensitizing the body as well. But pranayama, 12 lessons, and mantra, even if you don't want to develop psychic powers, you will develop psychic powers. So it's going to happen. And some people don't even realize that they have developed it, be honest with you. It's not until they begin to zero in on their senses and say, wait a minute, I'm sensing things that other people don't sense. And all of a sudden, they can begin their real stages of basic stages of sanyama, where they begin to analyze all the things around them. But it will sensitize the body. It will bring about this clairvoyant vision, hearing, seeing, tasting, touching is going to bring it about. All right.
Is there a limit to what you can psychometrize?
Yeah, there's limits. There's always limits to things. There's limits.
Like, could I psychometrize one of the Mahabhutas? Like, could I psychometrize water or air?
It depends. It depends. Yeah, you can do it. What you're going to get out of it, I don't know. But and the question is, do you want to do it? So, but yeah, but there are limits. And I think he even talked about that on the tape, which I noticed a big difference. When he said that it was very hard to psychometrize lead.
Yeah.
I actually went out and got some lead. And I had gold, silver, lead, and just metal.
Mm-hmm.
And I had different people to carry it around for a while. Then I psychometrize. I tried to psychometrize each one to see, to try to feel the difference. And there's a difference. So, and the lead is hard. You cannot get through it. Well, you can, but it's very, very hard to pick up something. So, and mainly because why? Because we know lead, the atomic weight and electronic configuration of lead is very, very dense. So it's not the average space in lead as it is in other things. So yeah, you have your limitations.
What would be an improper use of psychometry?
Trying to get a girlfriend. Trying to win over information so you can outdo somebody.
Would it be using it for selfish reasons?
Selfish reasons, yeah. So just like anything else, you want to use these things for service, not for those other reasons. Because why? Because you're going to build up negative karma against yourself. So you want to use it for positive reasons, for things that's going to bring about good actions, not bad actions.
So I couldn't use it to find the winning scratch-off lottery ticket.
It's very difficult to do that.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. At least I found it. Because I was stupid at one time. I learned most of this when I was just a child.
Mm-hmm.
And I was psychometry things when I was like 12, 13 years old. So you learn through trial. I learned through trial and error. I used to sneak and do stupid things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very difficult to do those things. My advice, don't do it. Don't try it.
It was difficult for you, or just difficult in general?
It's difficult in general. Yeah, I think it is difficult in general. And most people I know that develop those things, they say that. Because in other words, how can I explain this? You have to get dirty in order to break into the everything has like a mind battle consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to break into that and become a part of that in order to find the flow of it. And then
to take on that condition.
Yeah, if you was highly sensitive, once you do it and you know it, you will want to be a part of it because you're going to link yourself to that, for a couple lifetimes.
So was there people who I had a neighbor who used to bring the love of the scratch five and
that's where they were. They probably was already a part of all that. I had a neighbor that did the same thing. In fact, people used to line up at her door to get the winning number. And that's where people were. But once I became, in fact, she was given by some, I don't know, we call them well, some people call him a voodoo priest, or some people call him a root lady or whatever. She was given some type of incarnation and prayer to do it, and she had became very good at it. And when she would do this, she could just sit back and then just have some type of vision or dream and see what she wanted to see. But well, I knew her from a little boy, and as I grew up and I became more sensitive and psychic, it was nothing but she was in contact with somebody on the other side who was assisting her when she did the chant or whatever. She brought these spirits around her, and they assisted her, and they were nothing but slaves to somebody who was higher than them. So we have to be careful about stuff like that. You know. Any other questions? So everybody kind of understand it? Take time to listen to the tape. It's a good tape. It has a lot of information in it, you know, and it has a lot of mystic and scientific information in it as well. Is that it?
Say I wanted to get more information on the spirit energy radiator, or just the battery.
I'm not going to tell you.
No, but I said if I were to attempt it, would that be a bad thing? Would it be a good thing?
No, it won't be a bad or good thing. It just depends on your intentions. Remember, everything is your intentions. You know, everything is your intentions.
What was the question?
If I wanted to get more information on the radiator, or on one of the batteries.
If you have all the right intentions, there's nothing wrong with that.
A lot of comment comes with that too, though, right?
Yeah, information, knowledge brings responsibility. So remember that. The more knowledge you gain, the more responsibility fall on you. So, and then that's where limitation come in at too. For using that, for using or not using that information or knowledge.
Okay, so likewise, say if I were to try to psychometrize the 12 blessings.
Huh?
Say if I were to try and psychometrize the 12 blessings.
Good thing to do.
What could I expect to pull from?
A lot of stuff. So the 12 blessings is full of mystical secrets and teachings. So that's what you'll find. Yeah.
And layers and layers and layers, right?
Yeah. All type of knowledge. So, I mean, that's what I would do. But still, I mean, try to crawl before you walk. And try to have to be prepared to accept the knowledge, because once you get a particular knowledge and you can't do nothing with it, so it's gonna come. It's gonna come if that's what you really want.
But what would limit me from, what do you mean by do nothing with it? What would limit me from being able to apply knowledge I receive?
I mean, the position, the limitations that's on you now. You can receive knowledge, but you may have, there's many limitations on us. Now, how you handle that is a different thing. You understand? In other words, let's say you were able to go into a deep contemplation or meditation on the spiritual energy radiators, and you see the exact function of it. But also you see that it'll be another 255 years before we can create the proper apparatus to improve it to the level that you desire it to be improved. So you come out of that with the knowledge, but you also come out of that with great frustration. And psychic frustration is So now you have to try to balance that.
Mm-hmm.
Or you go on a manhunt for 255 years to try to bring those elements into the present time. So I mean, it's you know, I mean, those are things you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's what I mean. You can have the knowledge, but then you could see something, but it's going to take mankind another 200, 300 years to get there. You know, with the current stuff they're using, and the politics and all this other stuff. You know. So that's it. So I guess everybody really understands this, huh?
Tell some of your experiences, some stories.
I told you a couple already. You know, the most, I think, you already hear Dr. King on there, and I guess he didn't go into that. We didn't get a chance to go into it, where he talked about close relatives. Did we get that far on that?
Yeah, he mentioned it.
After the hardest ones to do.
He really went into it on the question and answer, huh?
I think so.
Yeah. So listen to the question and answer, because you know that's what you're gonna notice. The more you develop in the close relatives around you, or friends or whatever, you're gonna see things, and you'll begin to see things that they can't see, and then you get them advice, and they shoot you all over nut, you know, into this weird stuff or whatever, and they're gonna run right into the wall you told them that was there, and you know those are the things that stick in your mind, you know, when you develop those these abilities. You can see things, you tell people, and you try to forewarn them, and they just don't listen. And they just walk right into the wall that you're telling them not to walk into. You know, and that's, you know, to me, those was the hardest things to deal with. You know, and telling people, and I forewarned a lot of people that was close to me. Some, very few listened. Very few. Majority of them walk right into the fire. You know, and even when you start healing people and you try to tell them what to do, what not to do, you know, you're gonna find that maybe 10-20% listen, and that's a good number. Majority of them, they're not gonna listen. They're going to go and do the same thing. You know. I told you the story about the lady that was covered with the sores, and everything. I went and healed her in front of several witnesses. The sores disappeared in front of all of us, right? And I told her, I said, stop your automatic writing, right? She went right back to doing the automatic writing. And got sicker and eventually died. That's a part of the story I didn't tell you. But that's what people do. And she had her miracle right there. Because she yelled and screamed to us when we were sitting down and drinking the tea afterwards and everything. And she said, oh, look, it's disappearing. And all us witnessed the sores disappear on her. And then several months later, she was back with her automatic writing. Calling on the same evil spirits that place the illness in her, in her auric structure, which, you know, eventually came back and killed her. You know, and you know those are, you know, once you develop that ability, is really bothers you to. You know, that people don't listen, and sometimes there's no way you can really explain to them why you're telling them this. then sometimes you see something, you just can't see it all the way clear. I had this one friend, he was a teacher, and I used to go and counsel him because he was a leader with the Nation of Islam, but he would come to me for metaphysical training and teaching privately, never openly. He never came to a class, but he would come to me privately. So I would go and counsel him or whatever. And one day I went to go knock on his door, and all of a sudden I seen him come to the door, and he was on crutches. And then when I got up to ask him what had happened, he disappeared. So then the door came back there. So then I said, wait a minute, that was just a vision. And then he came to the door and everything was all right. So I sat with him, counseled him that day, and then I built up my nerves to tell him what happened. So in my mind, it was that his spirit was going to be broken in some type of way. It wasn't going to be a physical accident. His spirit was going to be broken in a certain way. And I thought it may have related to his church or whatever. It was a little bit, but not all the way. It was the lady across the street that broke his spirit. You know, he's this black Muslim preaching all this stuff, and this little Mexican lady got a hold to his mind and turned him out. So although I'm thinking one way and interpreting this one way, it happened, you know, totally opposite than what I had seen, you know. So you have those things too. Although it did break his spirit spiritually, but it broke his spirit, you know, because he was a celibate. He was a celibate going on 5 years, you know, waiting for his wife, you know. So, you know, but his spirit was broken, but it was broken in a whole different way than what I thought.
Was he ever physically unconscious? No physical?
No. But it was symbol. It was just a symbol. It was just showing me that how, because he was a strong physical guy too. So that's how the psychic vision came to me, because he was so physical and strong that it showed me that he was going to be broken. Because anyone that's physically strong, then they're mentally strong too. But that's the thing that you see when you see him, because he was a weightlifter. He had these big giant muscles and everything, so he was a weightlifter. But you know, so those are the things. And there again, he accepted what I was saying, but he did not follow up. he ran right into the wall. You know, and then when he met the lady, and he came and asked advice about the lady, I looked at him and I told him, I say, stay away from her. I told him that would be your downfall, but of course he didn't listen. And everything that he was building up, he lost. So. If there's no more questions, we can close out.
Well, in that case, that was rather involuntary. We were just walking up to his door and the vision came. But in psychometry, it's more voluntary, or I'm actively
No,
touching
not
the
necessarily.
object.
You can touch something, and all something. It only take a split second to receive information through psychometry. It only take a split second. You can shake a person's hand and pick up something. You know. So it only take a split second, and that split second, it'll take you. When you concentrate on, once you analyze what happened, you might can speak for 7, 12, 36 hours on what you've seen. It's just in that split second. That's how fast it moves. That's how fast it happens. A ton of information come over to you just by a simple touch.
So in a sense, we're constantly taking on conditions.
Yeah.
Everything you link yourself to.
Yeah. And the best thing with it is books. You can, you know, once you develop it, you can touch a book and pick up tons and tons of information on a book. You know, once you get really good at psychometry. You know. All right, there's no questions online, right? Yeah. The Mahabhutas, those are the cosmic elements of the universe. All right. There's a, there's a lot of books. There's a Nature Final Forces by Ramaprasad. It's online. It's at the. It's on our website. That book's on our website, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The ebook library.
The ebook library. You can look at it there. Also, Arthur Avalon goes into it as well in his book, The Serpent Power.
That's hard.
I read almost, but it was a lot of it.
What?
So I tried to read Serpent Power. I read most of Serpent Power.
Yeah.
And I got a lot out of it, but a lot. Like, that's a book that I want to go back to.
It takes 20 years to read.
Yeah. That book is so intense.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good, like, citations throughout. It's really
Mhm.
nice.
References to help
Yeah,
you
I
understand.
know.
Plus, on the website, I think I left it up there. I left some books, some
Encyclopedia?
encyclopedias that you can refer back to. You know,
Dictionary.
and so you can understand it.
And topic matter is.
The same books. The same books. Go back to the same books. Tabic matter is really the tabic rays that radiate from the solar logoses of each solar system. And it radiates from the sun. You know? In fact, everything is solidified light, right? And the tabic rays are the light beams that carries everything with it. So it's just another name for Akasa, really.
I have a random question. Say the solar systems with 2 stars, do they share in what tabic rays they distribute?
Do we know one with 2 stars? What you gonna do with that information?
I'm just curious.
Okay, let's leave Star Trek out.